I'm here in a cafe, and so the cafe sounds, but I'm here talking to Nathan with FreeeUp, which is really exciting. I heard about Nathan through going to Funnel Hacking Live with a bunch of entrepreneurs, and they're all like, "Oh my gosh, you do a VA thing? Like, you should definitely talk to Nathan." And I had like 3 or 4 people like give me your information. So I ended up signing up for FreeeUp, and you put in your personal phone number and you reach out right away. And so I'm like, "Hey, can we have a little interview?" And you're like, "Sure, let's do it." So I'm excited that we can have this little interview to talk about what it exactly a VA does, where they can find one, and how that hiring process is. So I know that that's like overwhelming for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah. So first, just if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me. I'm a longtime entrepreneur. I started an Amazon business out of my college dorm room back in 2008. And if you can imagine me selling millions of dollars of baby products, that's what I was doing when I was 20 and 21 as a single college guy. And so I got into Amazon at a really good time. And I quickly just learned that hiring people is tough, right? I was 20, 21. College kids were not very reliable, and no 30-year-old wanted to work for me. So I got thrown into the remote hiring world, the Upworks, the Fivers, and I found some good people, but it just took forever for me to go through 50 applicants, interview them one by one, and I always just wanted a faster way. And even talking to the freelancers and the virtual assistants, they didn't really like it either because they had to compete with 50 people for every single project. They spent more time looking for clients than they did actually doing the work. So I said, you know what, I think I can do this a better way. So 3 years ago, I created the FreeeUp platform. We get thousands of applicants every week, virtual assistants, freelancers, agencies from all over the world. We vet them for skill, attitude, communication. Top 1% get in. You get fast access to them whenever you need them. And on the back end, we have 24/7 support in case you have even the smallest issue on both sides, and a no turnover guarantee. If they quit for any reason, we cover replacement costs and get them a new person right away. So that's what I've been working on for 3 years, and it's been a lot of fun. And a lot of things happen that it wasn't necessarily planned. I mean, when we started, we thought we were going to be more of a VA service, and we've added freelancers, and now we have agencies on our platform too. But now we've also helped freelancers grow their business. And we have freelancers that get clients on our platform and off our platform, but are also clients of our platform and hiring VAs and subcontracting to other freelancers. So it's kind of cool to help businesses on both sides grow. And that's really what we're all about, creating those win-win-win scenarios.
So, okay, you've mentioned freelancers versus VA. And so I know a lot of people that are, taking this course, they're wondering if they need a VA versus somebody that specializes in something. So could you kind of differentiate what a VA tasks would look like and how many things they can take on versus like hiring somebody that specializes?
Yeah, and I want to start off with the hashtag titles don't matter. I mean, you could call anything a virtual assistant. I have experts that call themselves virtual assistants. So the way that I like to break it down is basic, mid, and expert. So basic level, when you think virtual assistant, $5 to $10 an hour outside the US, they have years of experience, at least if you get them on our platform, because we're not a marketplace for newbies. But at the end of the day, they're followers. So they're to follow your systems, your processes, the systems of your business. Then you got the mid-level specialists, the freelancers, the $10 to $30 an hour. They are US or non-US. They are not there for you to teach them how to do it. You're not teaching a graphic designer how to be a graphic designer, but they're not really consulting or bringing strategy to the table either. They're doers. Think project-based graphic designers, bookkeepers, writers. And then you got the experts, the 20 and up, the high-level freelancers, the consultants, the agencies. They're bringing their own strategies to the table, their own systems, their own processes. They can execute high-level game plans and project manage and handle big budgets. So part of it on the offering services side is kind of figuring out where you fall in there, because you don't want to tell a client that you can execute a strategy that you've never done before. But also when you're hiring, if you're stuck in the day-to-day operations and you want to become scalable, you should hire the basic level. If you have all these projects and you want to subcontract, and let's say you need to build a funnel and you need a graphic designer and some writers, you can subcontract the projects. Or if you want to white label your service, you can hire the higher level freelancers or agencies. We have people who run, let's say, a content freelancing business or a content agency, and they'll partner with a PPC agency, and they'll just mark that up and bill it to their clients, and it's like an upsell that they can add to their business. So it helps them scale that way. So there's lots of different creative ways that you can use all three levels, but it's important you understand when you should use each level.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that somebody watching this that's just starting with their first hire, they might feel overwhelmed with how many aspects there are to hire. So what would you tell them?
Tell them what? Sorry?
What would you tell them if they felt
Oh,
overwhelmed by how many things they had the option to hire, but with their first hire, what would you tell them?
yeah, so this is what I do, and for years I kind of dodged this question because it's tough for me to be like, you need to hire this person right now. That's not really how I approach business. People didn't really like me dodging like when's the right time to hire, or how do I like figure out what to hire. So I kind of took a step back and I said, how do I figure out when the right time to hire is? And what I do is I start off by looking at the numbers. I go back and I say I made X amount of money last month, and then I figure out how aggressive do I want to be? Do I want to be all in and try to grow an empire? Do I want to be a little bit more conservative? We're all in different places in our business, in our family life. So I would figure out, hey, if you want to be aggressive, maybe you're investing 40 to 60% of your profits back into your business. If you want to be more conservative, maybe it's 10 to 30%. But figure out what that number is. And let's say you say 25%. I'm going to invest 25% in. Then the question becomes, what do I hire first? And I like to create two different lists. The first list is everything I do on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And I like to organize that list from easiest to hardest. And then I focus on how do I get my hours back? And I get my hours back by starting at the easiest and slowly giving those tasks to other people so that my time becomes more valuable and I'm focusing on higher level stuff. The other way to approach it, and one of the best activities that I did with my business partner Connor back in the day, is we sat down and said, you're bad at this. And we were brutally honest with each other. And at the end, we realized we complemented each other very well, but we also had this list of all these things that we were not good at that we either wanted to do or we were currently doing. So what you do with this list is you try to turn the weaknesses of your freelancing business into strengths by hiring the mid-level specialist or hiring the expert. So that's how I would really go about doing it. Create a budget on how much you want to spend per week, per month, be realistic, and then figure out, hey, do I want to start taking stuff off my plate with the first list or turning weaknesses into strengths with the second list?
Okay, so this is really good information. I think that a lot of these people that are watching this and that I've kind of included in this course is really just looking at their first hire a lot of times, right? And so can you tell me kind of for a virtual assistant hire, what does that process look like on the user end? How long will it take? What the actual steps are when they go through a place like FreeeUp?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I didn't just wake up one day and hire 50 people, right? That's just not how it happened. You start small and you build it up. And that's one of the beauties of the gig economy is that you can hire someone for 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. You can increase the hours over time. You can add new people. So I would focus on how do you get 5 to 10 hours of your day back? If you're totally lost and you've got clients and you're scaling up, just get that 5 to 10 hours. What would you do with an extra 5 to 10 hours every week? So I mentioned the list. Let's say that you identify something easy, some easy tasks you want to take off your plate. Next is figuring out what that perfect person looks like, what level it is, what kind of person you work well with. I talk pretty fast. I tend not to work well with people that go at a very slow pace, stuff like that. Things, the kind of person that you want to work with, whether it's price point, skills, schedule, really define that. Once you define that, in your FreeeUp account, you just click request a freelancer. It'll ask some questions, which will actually guide you through so that you can actually think, hey, I need to answer this question, and that'll help me get what I want. And then once you put in that request, we fill it within a business day, usually faster. From there, you can meet with the person we send you. You can make sure you like them, interview them. If you like them, you can hire them. You can negotiate rate. You can agree to fixed price. If you don't like them, you can click pass and provide us feedback, and we'll get you someone else based on that feedback. So that's really the process.
Can they do like a trial period with someone?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of paying people for trials. I don't know. I always like to pay people for their time. So we don't really do free trials. It's not really up to me. It's up to the freelancer. We have a best practice that you get paid for any time. If the freelancer wants to do a free trial with you, more than welcome to. But you're going to get a credit just for listening to this. You get a free $25 credit when you sign up. So use that credit to try them out. Hire them for a few hours. I just had a VIP client who was hiring someone for the first time, and he hired 3 different virtual assistants, and he tried all of them out, and then he said, hey, you did the best during the task, pause the other 2, respectfully pay them for their time, and then move forward. So you definitely have those options.
Cool. Okay. So for somebody that is going in to hire a virtual assistant and they don't really know what it is that they specifically need, right? Even though we're kind of going through the specific breakdown, the tasks and everything. You said you have a questionnaire. Does that help guide them to understand who exactly they would need?
I mean, it gets us the information so we know what to get you. I mean, if you don't know what you're looking for at all, it tends to go more towards that expert, right? If you're like, hey, I want to run Facebook ads, but I don't know anything about Facebook ads, you really need to hire an expert, and you're not going to know like how many hours that's going to take or the budget off the top of your head. So as you get higher along the list, we really just need more information about your business and what the end goal is, rather than do they have to work Eastern time and how many hours a week and stuff like that. Because the expert is going to they're going to audit what you're doing, and they're going to say, hey, here are some options, or this is how much it's going to cost. So I don't know if that kind of answers your question, but we don't really go in and say like, hey, like you should do X, Y, Z. You have to tell us what you're looking for. And then if you don't know what you're looking for, we can provide you someone who will audit, ask you some questions, and then tell you what you're looking for.
Okay, perfect. That's the part I was looking for. Okay, so can we take a step back? I just want you to define what a marketplace is versus an agency versus an individual that you got referred.
Yeah, so I mean, a marketplace, the FreeeUp marketplace. The thing about us is we're not project managing, right? Like the work is between you guys. The freelancers set their own rates. You can negotiate the rate. It's not, if you make them an offer, it's up to them to accept, reject, or counter. They're in control of their own work. It's against our terms of service for them to share your information or your work with us in any way. We're there 24/7 if you need anything, but we're not actually involved in that operation. If you hire an agency, they're project managing for you. The owner of the agency is involved in the work, and it's a much more collaborative process. They have a much more control over the freelancers. From us, we're not necessarily controlling the freelancer and saying, hey, this is how you do the work. We're not training them. We look for people that already have this skill before they come in, where as an agency, they're trying to make the people in their agency better and better and training them over time. So that's kind of a little bit of a difference, where we're vetting them and holding them to high expectations when they're there, but the work is between the client and the freelancer, versus the agency, where all the control is right there from whoever owns the agency, and they're project managing them, and as an agency, they're responsible for that work. I mean, in terms of an individual referral, I mean, I always say that a freelancer is a few steps away from becoming an agency. I mean, that should be every freelancer's goal, to at least build a mini agency where you're not doing every little thing in your business. But I mean, the difference between an agency and that solo freelancer is you're dependent on one person, and there's pros and cons. I mean, the pro is you might build a little bit more personal relationship. You know who's doing the work. The con is if that person gets sick or something happens, you don't have a whole agency to back it up, and you don't have a marketplace to cover the replacement costs and get you someone else.
Okay, cool. You just mentioned something there that I think a lot of people worry about, is if that person doesn't work out for them, what next? Like, what is that offboarding process, and is it scary? Or is it like can you describe that for me?
Yeah, I mean, no one has a 100% hiring record, right? It just doesn't exist. You're going to make mistakes. Even the best freelancer in the world aren't the best fit for every single client out there. So you should be less focused on every single hire needs to be perfect, and more focused on how can I make 80 to 95% of my hires good instead of 40 to 60%, because those are very big differences over time when you're running a business. And hiring is risky. I mean, even if you hire your best friend to sit right next to you, there's always a chance that they do something stupid or jeopardize your business in some way. But I mean, I've been hiring for for a long time. And the majority of people are very well intentioned. They care a lot more about staying on my platform and getting more clients from us and keeping their reputation than they do about quitting on you and leaving you stranded and hurting your business in any way. Now, this is real life. Stuff does happen. And from our side, I mean, you mentioned my calendar is right on, or my phone number and my calendar are right on the website. They, my phone doesn't blow up all day. And if people were quitting, that's exactly what would happen. The turnover is very low. And because this is real life and stuff happens, and that 1% of the time it does, we're going to jump in and we're going to make sure you're taken care of, and we're going to get you someone else, and we're going to cover the cost of the difference and do everything possible to make it smooth. Now, is it going to be 100% hassle free? No, there's nothing we can do to get you your time back. You can always make more money. The time is the thing you can't get back, but we have lots of other talented people on the platform, and we're pretty good at problem solving, and we're going to try to make that transition as easy as possible. And there's things that you can do in your business to protect yourself, like making sure that you have backup documents and not someone else, and making sure that you diversify and you don't just hire one person to work 80 hours a week and do every part of your instead hiring 2 or 3 people. So there's things you can do there, but I mean, we have your back. We want to make sure you're taking care of it, and 99% of the time.
Okay, so something that you mentioned just then is kind of the safety element. And so could you go into that when somebody's a little afraid of somebody having their banking information or their PayPal login or whatever, like what happens then, right? Like, are you secure?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I've had credit card fraud before. I don't know if you've had credit card fraud before, but you get the money back. I mean, I've never lost a penny on it, and not from my VAs, just from my Amazon business. Like, stuff just happens in life. So, I mean, a lot of those risks that, like, PayPal has protections. Like, yeah, you shouldn't just hire someone and the next day just give them all your information. Although I've done that with a bookkeeper before because they were highly recommended. So there's a certain element of like reason there and just building trust with people over time as you give them more information. But it kind of falls into I mean, we bill 16,000 hours every week, and knock on wood, we've never had a serious issue. And I mean, I'm sure eventually something will happen because that's just real life, but the chances are a lot smaller than you think. And at some point, you just don't become scalable. You're not going to be able to grow your business if you don't hire. There's very few $1 million, $5 million a year entrepreneurs, freelancers out there that are just solo. You have to build a team. You have to hire people, and hiring is risky, just like every other part of being an entrepreneur and being a freelancer is risky.
Totally. I love that you said that, because one of my questions is like, who doesn't need a VA? And off of that, why should every online entrepreneur have a VA?
I mean, I'm biased, but I don't think there's a business that doesn't need a VA unless you're comfortable really creating a job for yourself instead of growing a business. Then do it all yourself. And I mean, again, we're all in different points of our life, and different things make sense for different people. So I'm not here to be like, you need to have a VA. But if your goal is to grow your freelance business and become scalable, hiring a VA is a fantastic way to do it. And I've had people that have come to me and said, hey, I've never hired someone before, or I've had bad hiring experience before, or I'm scared to do it for XYZ reasons. And they're sitting here a year later with these awesome VAs from our platform and loving it. And just like bad hiring makes you never want to do it again, good hiring is addicting. It makes you want to take more off your plate and give projects to other people and scale your business.
We were just talking about who doesn't need a VA, and you said that. I'm not going to tell you who doesn't need a VA. Pretty much everybody needs one, but you know where you're at in your business. So could you tell me why every online entrepreneur should probably have a VA?
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure out the value of your time. I mean, when you're starting a business, unfortunately, the value of your time is pretty small. So you end up doing a lot of the day-to-day tasks, a lot of pretty much everything. You're wearing all the hats in your business. But as you grow, as you gain clients, as your revenue increases, the value of your time goes up and up and up. And eventually you just find yourself doing things that are way below whatever your hourly value is. And when that happens, it only makes logical sense to get someone at that value to do those tasks. You should be focused on big picture stuff, sales, expansion, marketing, all the big stuff that it takes to grow the business. If you're constantly stuck in the day-to-day operations, answering every email, doing every process, at some point you just become not scalable. And if your goal is to scale, hiring a VA is a great way to do it. I mean, the other option is you hire a full-time employee, you go get an office, and a lot of the times it's very unnecessary for all of us that are running remote online businesses.
So I'm a huge believer in processes, and I think that like clear communication is a big thing. So for your own personal utilization of virtual assistants, how have you seen your communication kind of grow, and what do you think is the best way to utilize your VA?
Yeah, so I personally am a big fan of Skype. And what I do is I have my VAs and my favorites on Skype. I have group chats, so my accounting group chat, my customer service group chat, and I use those group chats. So I use email for anything that just needs a response within the next few hours or before the end or before or at your next shift. I use Skype for anything that's day to day when people are online to communicate. And I use Viber and WhatsApp for anything that's an emergency. And to keep track of projects, I use Trello, and I really keep it that simple. And I'm talking to 50 plus people in any given week, and I'm managing it all from that. And as you grow this business, you can upgrade people to team leaders and have them take over certain parts of it. But that's really what I'm all about. And I have SOPs, and I can kind of share with you how I build an SOP. My SOP is three parts. The top of the SOP is information about my business, about the team, about the task, what's happened bad in the past, what we're trying to do, the goals. So really giving them as much information as possible at the top. Then I'm breaking it down. Hey, here are the steps, A, B, C, D. So the actual meat, and this is how you do things. And then lastly, I'm doing all the things to absolutely not do for any reason, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they miss out because what one client wants you to do, you might not want them to do. So it might be like, hey, if this particular client emails me, they're my biggest client, don't respond, leave for me. It could be anything that you do not want them to do. And you can always change this. And as you build trust, adjust it. But that gives them a really good mindset of what they should not be doing. So that's how I break down the SOPs. And what I do is I say, hey, take this and read it. I don't care how long it takes you. I'll pay for your time, and I'm there to answer any questions. My team's there to answer any questions, and we're there to support them. And I haven't invested any of my time into them at that point. And when they're done, I'm going to test them, and either they get it or they don't. And if they don't, I'm going to pay them for their time and respectfully part ways. And if they do get it, and they don't have to get 100% of it, maybe they get 80%, only then I'll invest my time and get them to that last 20%. So if you think of your time, we talked a lot about your time is the asset and it goes up over time. You have to look at your time as an investment. If you're going to invest time into people, you have to be getting something back, either in money or free time in the future.
I love that, because I think like one of the big hesitations for people is this going to be more time to explain this to someone than it would be just to do it myself? And I'm always like, well, maybe at first, but if you keep handing off this task, they're going to be able to repetitively do this. So I think that's really, really interesting. Another thing is that I've heard a lot of hesitations for people who are like, well, now this is my first hire, and now I have somebody's employment in my hands, and that's a really scary thing to initially get over. What do you kind of tell somebody that has like that initial fear of their first hire?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the responsibilities of business. There's pros and cons. I mean, it's scary, but at the same time, you can really help people. And for all you know, you could be helping another freelancer grow their freelance business. And I like to look at things more as a collaboration and more as a business-to-business relationship, especially in the remote environment and the gig economy. And if you look at everything that way as more of a collaboration than you're responsible for them, I think it makes it easier, but it also leads to just a much more fun and improved relationship. And from there, I mean, once it's a collaboration, they can give you ideas, be like, hey, I worked with this client and we used Trello. Can I show you how to set up Trello? You know, you get those ideas going back and forth rather than that old school mentality from 20 years ago where I'm the boss and what I say goes and you need to listen to me. That doesn't really work nowadays. And it's not that much fun to be in that environment either.
Cool. All right. Just a couple more things. One is, what have you seen most often held people back from actually utilizing their VA properly?
I think setting expectations right from the beginning. So right after the hire, before you just get started, get on the same page. Like, this is when we work. This is what constitutes success and failure. These are my pet peeves. Like, literally everything. And I even scare people a little bit before they start working with me. And scare probably isn't the right word, but I want them to know what they're getting into. I'm not an easy person to work with. I'm a great person to work with long term, but I have very high expectations. And I don't want them to come to me in a month and be like, Nate, you know what? I wasn't prepared for this. I can't handle it. I can't live up to your expectations. I want to know right from the beginning. So I spent extra time going over expectations, making everything black and white, no gray area, even asking them 1 or 2 times, are you sure you can do it? And only then do I proceed and invest my time into them. And I feel like some people, they make a lot of assumptions, and then they hire someone, and the VA is going in this direction and you're going in this direction, and that's where people waste a lot of time and get frustrating. It really all gets frustrated. It really all comes down to setting expectations right from the beginning.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Okay. So something that I really like about your marketplace, I haven't used FreeeUp personally, but it's come so highly recommended, and I've looked through it, and I've, talked to you. We did an initial consultation about what FreeeUp is. So I feel like I'm able to recommend this. And what I love about it is that you have an affiliate program for anybody that signs up. If they get anybody else to sign up after them, they get 50 cents from every hour that they work or something. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, and that's on both the client side and the freelancer side. So if you refer a client, you get 50 cents for every hour we bill to them forever. If you refer a freelancer, 50 cents for every hour that they bill forever. And we're adding fixed prices to our software. You can still do it now. It's just not built in. But you'll eventually get 3% for clients and 2% for freelancers for anyone, all their fixed price projects going forward. And we paid out about $300,000 last year in referral money. So it's a good way to make extra money and also just help out other people. I mean, we're all about the win-win-wins. We want to create an environment where the clients are happy, the freelancers are happy, and obviously FreeeUp is happy, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's a very unique thing that I haven't seen in other agencies or marketplaces. So it's really cool. And if you guys want, you can sign up through my affiliate link. It's bit.ly/free with 3 E's time. Free time. And so I think that's really cool. Last thing, Nathan, thank you so much for joining us. Could you please tell me what you would describe as being time rich?
Time rich. I don't think I've ever heard that expression before. I can assume what it means is that you have freedom and flexibility to do whatever you want whenever you want it. Am I somewhat close?
Yeah. So what does it mean for you to be time rich?
So, man, that's a good question. For me, I mean, life's too short to do things that you don't want to do. So I a long time ago, I pretty much just said, I'm not going to do anything that I don't want to do. and it really comes down to that. So if I'm working on my business, it's because I want to be. If I'm working on some side project for fun, if I'm learning how to a new skill or whatever it is, I mean, no one's telling me I have to do it. And I'm not necessarily talking about small things like chores and whatever that you have to do, and you can eventually hire people for that too. But for the most part, if you're spending the majority of your life, a high percentage of your life, doing things that you want to do that no one said you have to do, to me, that's being time rich.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have anything to add?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. I'm very easy to get a hold of. If anyone has any questions, you can check out the FreeeUp blog, the FreeeUp YouTube channel. We're launching a podcast called Outsourcing and Scaling. I'm really excited about. So we're providing a lot of great content to help you hire, to help you grow your freelance business, and regardless of whether you use our service. And that's really what we're all about.
Cool. That's great. I think that this helped answer a lot of questions for me and for hopefully the people that are taking this course.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much.